In 2011, a restaurant in a tiny town on the Spanish coast closed its doors after spending nearly 2 decades being ranked the best in the world. El Bulli had been receiving roughly 2 million reservation requests a year for 8,000 available seats. The waiting list wasn't measured in months, it was measured in years, and the chef shut it down at the peak of demand. Because at a certain level, a restaurant stops being a place where you eat dinner and becomes something else entirely. Most people hear the word restaurant and picture the same thing: a table, a menu, a bill at the end. They're describing level 1. The gap between that and what sits at the top of this list is wider than most people realize. One guy spent £6 on his lunch, another paid $4,000 for his. Same hunger, same city, completely different products. Let's get into it. Level 1, the quick service restaurant, £5 to £15 per person. McDonald's, Burger King, Subway, KFC, Taco Bell. The format that defines how the majority of the developed world actually eats. This is the level most people pretend they don't visit, and most people visit weekly anyway. The product here is not food, the product is speed. A McDonald's drive-thru is engineered to deliver a hot meal in under 90 seconds every time, in every country, on every continent. That consistency is the entire achievement. The kitchen is not a kitchen in any traditional sense. It is an assembly line. The grill cook has been replaced by a thermostat. The fry station times itself. The drink dispenser pours to the exact ounce. There is no chef. There is a manager and a labor schedule and a profit margin calculated to the cent. And here's the thing nobody in the industry will admit out loud. At level 1, the food itself is engineered backwards from the price point. You start with a target cost per item, then design a sandwich that hits it. Flavor is secondary. Reliability is the product. A Big Mac in Tokyo tastes identical to a Big Mac in Berlin because that is the entire business model. Who eats here? Almost everyone. The student between classes, the trucker pulling off a motorway at 3 in the morning, the single parent who needs to feed 3 children for under 30 quid before football practice. Level 1 is the bottom of the pricing pyramid and the foundation of how the modern world feeds itself. Level 2. Fast casual. £12 to £25 per person. Chipotle, Sweetgreen, Kava, Shake Shack, Pret. This is where the price doubles, and the perception of what you're eating changes more than the food itself does. Fast casual was invented in the late 1990s as a category that didn't really exist before, and the business model is genius. You take the speed and operational discipline of fast food. You strip out the deep fryer and the reheated frozen patty. You replace them with an assembly line where the customer watches their food being put together. You name 3 ingredients you can pronounce and put them on a sign behind the till. The customer pays £14 for what is, in most cases, 8 pounds of food, and the customer leaves feeling like they made the responsible choice. Here's what fast casual actually sells. It sells the absence of guilt. The Chipotle bowl is not meaningfully healthier than a Big Mac on most measures. The Sweetgreen Kale Caesar contains more calories than people assume, but the visual transparency, the open kitchen, the ingredient signs, the brown paper bowls, all of it communicates virtue, and virtue at this price point is the entire product. Who eats here? The office worker who could afford a sit-down lunch but doesn't have an hour? The fitness influencer who needs the macro count visible? The parent feeding teenagers who refuse to admit they would have been just as happy at McDonald's? Level 3, casual dining, £25 to £50 per person. Cheesecake Factory, Texas Roadhouse, Olive Garden, Pizza Express, Wagamama at the top of the range. This is where you sit down. There is a host stand. There is a server who introduces themselves by name. There is a menu with 72 items, 4 of which the kitchen actually makes well, and the rest of which exist to give the table an illusion of choice. The product at level 3 is not the food. It is the experience of being looked after for 90 minutes for under £100 for a family of 4. Casual dining is the most operationally complicated tier in the entire industry. A Cheesecake Factory in Phoenix and one in Pittsburgh must produce the exact same Caesar salad to the exact same plating standard prepared by line cooks who turn over at a rate of more than 100% per year. The fact that the food is even competent given those constraints is a logistical miracle. The reason it tastes the way it tastes is centralized commissaries. Most of what you eat at a national casual dining chain arrives at the restaurant pre-prepared. The line cook is finishing dishes, not making them. That is not a criticism. That is the architecture that allows your salmon to cost 26 pounds instead of 56. Who eats here? The anniversary couple who picked this because it was a safe choice. The youth team after a Saturday afternoon match. The 2 grandparents taking 5 grandchildren out and praying nothing gets spilled. If you're finding this useful, subscribe and hit the like button. Every week I break down how complex systems actually work. Now, back to it. Level 4, the independent restaurant, 50 to 100 pounds per person. This is where chef-driven cooking enters the conversation and the entire economic model of the industry shifts. At level 4, there is no parent company, no regional vice president, no centralized commissary. There is one location, usually one chef, often one owner, and a kitchen that buys produce on a Tuesday morning from a farmer who delivers to 4 other restaurants in the same neighborhood. The menu changes, sometimes weekly, sometimes daily. The Caesar salad is not the Caesar salad your mother knew. It is the chef's interpretation of a Caesar, made with romaine cut to order, anchovies from a specific tin, and a dressing emulsified 90 seconds before it reaches your table. The bread is from a specific bakery 3 streets away. The wine list is built around what the owner drank in Italy 2 summers ago. Here's the thing about level 4 that the spec sheet does not say. The margins are brutal. An independent restaurant typically operates on a 3 to 5% profit margin. One bad month, and the owner is borrowing on a credit card to make payroll. The chef you can see through the kitchen window is 43 years old, sleeps 5 hours a night, and has been doing this for 20 years because the alternative is unimaginable to him. Who eats here? The neighborhood regulars who know the bartender by name. The food enthusiast who follows 3 local chefs on Instagram. The couple celebrating their 5th anniversary at the place they went to on their first date. Level 5, fine dining. 100 to 300 pounds per person, white tablecloths, a captain, a server, a runner, a sommelier, and a host all coordinating around a single table. The Ritz, Le Gavroche, before it closed, Daniel, 11 Madison Park's regular service. At this level, you are no longer paying for food. You are paying for the service architecture that surrounds the food. 3 people, sometimes 4, are involved in the experience of every plate that reaches your table. The captain takes the order. The sommelier pairs the wine. The runner times the kitchen. The server clears, refolds your napkin when you leave the table, and replaces your cutlery between courses. Every motion is choreographed. The training program to staff a level 5 dining room is measured in months, not weeks. The kitchen at level 5 operates on a different physics. There is a brigade system, a saucier, a poissonnier, a pastry chef, a chef de cuisine, an executive chef, sometimes a culinary director above all of them. Service is rehearsed before doors open the way a West End show is blocked. Every Friday at 4:45 in a kitchen on a side street in Mayfair, 14 people are tasting the night's amuse-bouche and being corrected on its execution by a chef who has not slept properly since 1998. That is what your 300-pound dinner is paying for. Level 6. The 3-star, the destination restaurant. 400 to 1,000 pounds per person, sometimes more. Reservations open at midnight on a specific Tuesday 3 months out, and they're gone in 11 seconds. Sukiyabashi Jiro, Atelier Kren, Alineia's tour menu, Noma during its final years. At level 6, you are no longer eating dinner. You are sitting through a curated narrative composed by a single chef, expressed in 18 to 24 courses, lasting between 3 and 5 hours. The kitchen at a 3-star restaurant is run like a research laboratory. There are stagiaires, unpaid apprentices who fly across the world for the privilege of cleaning herbs for 12 hours a day for no salary because the line on their CV is worth more than the wages. The plates that reach your table have been refined over months. The single bite of yellowtail with caviar that arrives as course 3 was developed across 48 iterations before it ever reached a paying guest. And here is what most people don't understand about level 6. The restaurant loses money on most of you. The margins at a 3-star are catastrophic. The labor cost is unsustainable. The ingredient cost is uncapped. Many of the world's most celebrated restaurants are subsidized by the chef's brand, by cookbooks, by television, by consulting income from hotels in Dubai and Singapore. The restaurant itself is a marketing asset for a personality. The food is the loss leader. The chef is the product. Level 7. The final level. This is where the restaurant chooses you. Forget the price, forget the reservation. At level 7, you do not book the table. You are introduced to it. Picture a small omakase counter in a basement in Tokyo with no sign on the door. 8 seats, served by a chef in his 70s who has been making sushi for 53 years. There is no website, there is no phone number listed publicly. To eat there, you must be brought by an existing client who has eaten there enough times to be permitted to introduce one new guest per year. Picture Sublimotion in Ibiza, where dinner costs roughly 2,000 euros per person and the chef does not serve more than 12 people at a time. Picture the private chef tables that exist inside restaurants you've heard of, located behind a door most diners never see, where the menu is composed in conversation with the guests the morning of service. At level 7, you are not paying for food. You are paying for confirmation that you have access to something almost nobody else does. The restaurant could earn more money serving more guests. It deliberately does not. Scarcity is the product. Membership is the bill. And here's the irony of the entire industry that nobody on the inside will say out loud. The most expensive meal in the world is not necessarily the best meal. The taco truck in the car park of a tire shop in Los Angeles might outcook a 3-star kitchen on a specific dish on a specific night. The restaurant industry started with a simple idea: feed someone. Charge them, make sure they leave full. And somewhere between the 6-pound Big Mac and the 4,000-pound omakase, the product changed. The guy at level 1 and the guest at level 7 are doing the same thing. They are buying a version of an hour. One is buying the cheapest possible version. The other is buying the most exclusive possible version. The hunger is identical. Everything else is theater. If this was useful, subscribe. I break down how things actually work, not how the brochure describes them. See you in the next one.